Hey, it's Pastor Joe, lead pastor at Markham Woods Presbyterian Church, coming to you with a Friday morning little devotional for you today, and also some information about something that we're doing at the church this afternoon that's pretty incredible. But I wanted to start out today with a little scripture reading, one of my favorite passages. It's one of the ones we kind of retell all the time. We use it to demonstrate Jesus' ability over nature, the great miracles, one of the great miracles. But today it may have a different meaning for us. So I want to share today, yes, have to put the glasses on today as I read this. I'm going to read out of Mark chapter 5, verses 35 through 41. Very famous, much read, talked about miracle story. It goes like this. On that day when evening had come, Jesus said to them, "Let's go across to the other side." And leaving the crowd, they took him with them, just as he was in the boat. And other boats were with him also. And a great storm of wind arose, and the waves beat into the boat, so that the boat was already filling. But he was in the stern, asleep on a cushion. And they woke him, and they said, Teacher, don't you care? We're about to perish." And Jesus awoke, and he spoke against the wind, and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said to them, "Why are you afraid? Have you no faith?" And they were filled with awe, and they said to one another, "Who then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?" There it is, the famous stilling of the sea story. Now, we've been over to Israel. We've been on the Sea of Galilee, and there is a little area right there where most of his ministry took place. And there's an area, and it has two mountain ridges. And in between is a valley. They call it the Valley of the Doves. And I was told when we were over there that the Sea of Galilee really isn't that big when we think about it. We think of a sea. It's more like a lake. But the wind is channeled right through this Valley of the Doves and can get quite strong, and blow and create the kind of seas that are talked about in the story. So it's not unusual to think of something like this even in a smaller body of water. I was even watching a report the other day about surfing in the Great Lakes. Even the Great Lakes, it's a lake, but they get waves. The wind generates a fetch and it goes across, and it actually has some fellows out there surfing. So not unusual. It is possible this story happened exactly the way it's recorded. Now, I don't know what you do with the story. It talks about Jesus' ability to interject himself supernaturally into nature, and we talk about sort of revealing the supernatural side of who Jesus was, the miracles and signs. We were on a trip one time. I used to go down surfing with some buddies in the Bahamas. And we save our money. We do little odd jobs, cut grass, whatever it took to get enough money to pay for the little cheap, cheesy airline to fly us over to the Bahamas. And then we lived off of peanut butter and jelly, but we surfed every day. So this was a big event for us to save up this money to go on this wild adventure. And so often we had great responses. The waves were really good. We had a lot of fun. One time we did this. We saved up our money. We flew over there. Nothing. It was like the Sea of Galilee with no wind, right? It was just, there were no waves at all. And day after day, no waves. We didn't know what to do. So we had this great idea. A couple friends of mine, we were really coming into our faith and had sort of this little Christian accountability group where, we weren't afraid to pray together and talk about matters of faith. And so we sat down and said, you know what, if we really believe all this stuff about faith and about prayer, let's go pray. So we all went off on our own to our own little places by ourselves, and we were going to pray. So I call it praying up a storm. We were praying, Lord, could you bring a storm, bring some waves? You know, we've come to all this trouble. I know, self-serving prayers. What can I say? We were in high school. So we prayed and we came back home, and that night, this is the absolute truth, a huge storm appeared and the winds blew, and it was like, it worked. Faith, we prayed up a storm. So you want to hear the rest of the story? Went to the beach the next day, no waves. So the point of the story is you can pray up a storm, or you can pray into the storm. And I think that's what Jesus was doing. He didn't pray up a storm, he prayed into a storm. And it allowed some very interesting words. Peace, be still. And that may be the best word for us today. When we have the storm of the coronavirus is rotating around us, and our restrictions get tighter and tighter and tighter, and many of the plans we made to go and have wonderful springs and activities that happen this time of year, they've all come to a close. It's like the surf trip that never was. We have these plans, but now when we're into them, it's not working. It didn't turn out the way we wanted, and we're into something completely unexpected and unwanted. So my encouragement to all of us today is to pray into the storm, just as Jesus prayed into the storm. And we're not talking about simply praying for a cure for the coronavirus. That's wonderful, and I think we're on the verge of that. But it's more praying right now into the storm in people's lives. It could be your life. Right? Your life right now, praying into the storm of your life and the storm of others. And the prayer it's not the spectacular prayer of stilling waves. It's a more intimate prayer of stilling the chaos, maybe in your life and maybe somebody you know. And that's doable. That's doable. That's not praying against a hurricane. It's praying, peace, be still. And each one of us can make that prayer today. So I hope you'll do that. Take a little time and maybe offer your own version of praying up a storm or praying into the storm. So wanted to give you that little word today, but I also want to remind you today, it's Friday morning, where I'm recording this right now, and we are preparing right now. Chef Kevin is out in the parking lot. He has this gigantic smoker going, and he is cooking up like 300, 400 pieces of chicken, barbecue chicken, and Kevin's macaroni and cheese, and Kevin's green beans. And we are pre-packaging those, and it's done very carefully, with all the things in mind with the coronavirus. And that's for our food giveaway today from 5 o'clock to 6:30. If you drive into the church and you drive through the portico by our fellowship hall, we have sealed meals. These meals that are being cooked by a select small group of people, they're sealed, and we'll hand you as many meals as it takes to feed your family. Maybe you have one or two more you want to take. You know somebody that, especially under these newer restrictions, is feeling the pinch, and you could take them a meal. You don't even need to go into their house. You could just leave it at their doorstep. Let them know it's there. Then if you get your chicken dinner, here's the wonderful thing. Then you'll move up to another station where you'll only be one person. You don't get out of your car. They will give you Palms for Palm Sunday service this Sunday, and they'll also give you a communion kit for as many people in your family that wishes to participate in our communion. We'll be doing it virtually, but at home you'll have the communion cup, you'll have the palm, and we won't miss one part of the Palm Sunday celebration. So again, if you come today, you'll drive through the first station. One person will hand you the meals that you request. You don't get out of your car. You won't make contact. Then you'll go to the next station. Again, one person will hand you a bag with the elements in it for you to go home and take. And again, if you have somebody that's in need, I hope you'll take an extra meal. And just so you know, the meals that are not distributed today will be taken to the Rescue Outreach Mission, and they'll be distributing to needy folks in downtown Sanford. So it's a wonderful way we can serve not only our church family, but the family of God that's nearby to us. So a little word for you today. I hope I see you today. I'll be there. I won't be coming in contact with you, but come and get a great barbecue dinner in the midst of the storm. We're going to pray into the storm.